everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Life After Kids with Doctors Brooke and Lynne. I'm Dr. Brooke.
I'm Dr. Lynne.
And thank you for joining us. We're so glad you're here.
Welcome. This week we are talking about the fear of missing out.
FOMO.
Serious FOMO.
Yeah.
And no, but it's an important part of our boundaries conversation that we had a couple of weeks back, if you recall, because FOMO is real. We know this, but we can't do all the things. And at this stage in our life, not all of the things are really and truly important to us.
Right. And now more than ever, FOMO is something we struggle with more because of just social media. I mean, it's all in our faces.
Yes, and we get the pictures the day later, and it looks so much
fun.
fun.
What everybody else is doing, yeah. It does make it more difficult. But, as you said, at this age, but I still do it. I want to have this conversation because I'm still guilty of it. Like, I can give you just an example of like traveling. Like if the group that we travel with is going, and I know it's best for us to stay home because the kids have something going on, or there's some, some choice, I still have that in me. Like, we got to make this work. Like, the kids will be fine. I can't miss, like, what everyone else is doing. And it does sound ridiculous, but I'm 40, almost 47.
Yeah.
And I still get that sense that I have to remind myself, Brooke, it's okay. Like, you don't have to be involved in everything. There are other decisions and choices you have to make.
Yeah. I think it's really simple. It's just having a real consciousness around, okay, if I make this event, if I make this trip, if I extend myself for this commitment, is what I'm going to get out of that and the value that I have prioritized going to outweigh the tax that it's going to place on me to attend.
Right.
It's just a simple equation.
Right. And you can also line it up too and reflect on core values. Like, what is the most important to you if you're in a situation where there's two things going on and you might have to back out of one thing and you're not sure because they're both important things. You don't want to miss out. Well, what is more important? Like, in that instance, do I want to be with all of my friends and all the people that I network with? Absolutely. But family is first. And so if there's something going on, you have to make that choice.
Yeah. And if you're not real clear on your core values, that's an exercise we take you through in our Smart Girls community. We have that in our Life After Kids course. We have a really simple way to help you with that, but we'll continue to talk through it, and you can do it really generally and just knowing what's most important to you and identifying that and being really aware of your priorities.
Right. Yeah, because I think that will make that fear of missing out when you do say no to something or you don't show up for something a little bit easier, because when you have a why behind what you're doing and you connect to that emotionally, it makes it easier.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm going back to a conversation that we had from someone in our community who it wasn't their FOMO that they were struggling with. It was the FOMO that their partner had.
Oh yeah, their husband.
Do you remember that? And that can make it tricky because you could be very centered. You could be an introvert. You could be someone who knows you need time at home to recharge, and you're perfectly fine with saying no. Yeah. But what do you do if your partner has FOMO and you're feeling this obligation?
Yeah, that's a tough one too, and that does come up. And same thing, like, how many times have you been in a situation, just take your spouse or partner out of it, where like you're exhausted, you're not feeling your best, you're teetering on the edge of almost feeling like you're could be coming down with something, or you're super stressed and you need a day just in, but you go and do the thing because you don't want to miss out.
Yeah.
And you usually suffer for it, right?
Yeah, and have some resentment because you really didn't want to do it. And
right.
You did it to please someone else or to not miss out in this case. So, yeah, again, we've said this, when you say yes to something, you're automatically, that means you're saying no to something else.
Right.
Because there's limited time, focus, and energy.
Right.
So, yeah, and I do think, hey, it is real. And like you said, you still experience, perhaps it's just we're meant to. It's a part of the struggle. It's the part of us knowing it's uncomfortable, but it's the part of us knowing, yeah, this is why I am choosing me or prioritizing A and forgoing on B. And it's just the yin and yang of life. And you know what? It creates that tension around us getting really clear on what we want.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's the biggest thing, is that at this phase of life, we're growing, right? We're becoming more comfortable with ourselves. We're becoming hopefully more authentic. We're standing on more solid ground in what it is that we want out of life and what brings us joy. And so as we can step into those spaces and grow ourselves more and understand ourselves better, I think that things like FOMO start to take a back seat.
Yeah. Yeah. You
And
notice
that's
it
what's-
less and less the more muscle we exercise in saying, nope, I'm very clear on this is not a priority. And then you're happy to just,
Right. Because
stick to your guns.
in some ways, would you agree that at the end of the day, if you're experiencing FOMO, or one of your teens is experiencing FOMO, whatever it is, a lot of that goes back to, if we want to know really what the cause of that is insecurity.
Yeah, or just simply not knowing where your priorities lay.
One of those
with
two.
enough clarity.
Yes. So either you need to know what your priorities are, A, or B, you need to get more confident in yourself, more comfortable in your authenticity, and know like it's going to be
And
okay. if you miss
probably
the thing.
a little bit of both.
A little bit of both, yeah. So we're unpacking this just as we're talking, because I'm literally just thinking through this. We don't script this, right? But it's such an important thing. Both of those are so important at this phase, and not only for us, but then teaching that to our kids, because if we struggle with FOMO, oh my gosh, the kids even more with the social media and the posting, and it's constantly in their face what their friends are doing. And it's just so important to teach them and instill in them, like, you are your own person. And your friends go and do something and you're not there, you're still their friend.
Yeah.
They're not going to forget you. They're not, you're special in your own right. You don't have to do all the things.
Yes. And in friendships, in terms of our adult friendships, our women friendships at this stage in our life, scheduling and families and our priorities are to maintain the friendships, but we have so many competing priorities. I think it's important to remember that if your friends carry on a plan and you can't, maybe the date didn't work out for you, and then you're going to have some FOMO around that, just remember that it's okay. Yeah. You'll be at the next one, or there's nothing, it's not necessarily a personal leaving you out, that
Right.
just sometimes, just like what you would tell your kids, is the same argument or the same comforting conversation we have to have with ourselves, that we're not going to be at every event, every party. You can't do all the things, and it's okay.
Yeah, because you're going to likely eventually experience some burnout, unless you're maybe a 7 and you can just keep going in Enneagram 7.
Yeah.
But this is, it's a real thing. It maybe seems silly right now at our ages to talk about it, but I think we definitely do still struggle with it.
I have FOMO all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's getting more manageable in the sense that I still will have the FOMO, but I know that I'm where I need to be, so it's not like I should really be a mistake. And gosh, I'm just jealous that I wasn't there. Really isn't that. It's like, oh, that looked fun.
Yeah, I saw that in you, and I was like so proud of you. Like, I don't know if proud's the word, but just like thinking, I don't know if I would have, like, the way you handled your situation. We had our New Year's Eve together, and you were not feeling good. You were sick.
Some other friends.
And we had friends in. We were all in Florida. We were all and we haven't gone out on New Year's. We've been together for New Year's for years, and it's been a quiet, in the house, hanging with the kids, doing just dance, like whatever it is. And this of all years is like the big, we're going out, we're going to this big party,
the dress up, all the things.
The skyline bar at the top of the hotel, and you get sick and you can't join us. You went to dinner, but then we're like, I think you were back in your room at 9, but you were so good about it. I don't know if you were like really upset on the inside, but you really
genuinely was at a place where my body, and I think that's what happens in menopause. I think that happens in this phase of our life, which is a cool piece of that transition that, we talked about menopause a few weeks ago, where it's almost like your body makes up your mind for you.
Yeah, sometimes we can't help, but the FOMO doesn't matter because
it's like, nope,
you're done, girl.
Okay. Not even going to question it. It's just like, it's a no. for you tonight.
You're not pushing through anymore.
No.
But you didn't have any, I didn't see any like remorse about that or feeling like really bad or like jealous of that you weren't there.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
I ruined my New Year's and like
I mean, part of that for me is that I'm an introvert, so I'm perfectly fine by myself. But I do appreciate, and these are great friends that we don't get to spend a lot of time with all the time because they don't live near us or near me. So I did appreciate the fact that I was missing something, but yeah, it was just, I needed to rest and I knew that. And
you gave yourself the grace.
I gave myself the grace, and it was what it was.
And you were, I watched you walk through that. Like, I'm so glad you guys are having fun. I'll see you at midnight, but I am perfectly content to just relax in my bed and watch some TV, and I'll watch. And I was like, good for you, girl.
Yeah. So, but I love the conversation about doing this and being that example for your kids, because gosh, we all want better. At least I do. We all want better for our kids. Many of us have had wonderful, blessed lives, and many of us have many struggles, and most of us have had a combination of both. And the truth is that through our struggles, I try and learn something that I can pass off to my daughter so that she can stand, I guess, on my shoulders, however you would say that, and learn from our experiences. And hopefully she can do that for her children as well. So yeah, it's important that we don't burn our kids out the way that we've done that in our 20s, 30s, and 40s.
Right. And if you still have kids that are a little younger at home, like I had those conversations early on with my kids, like with all the kids were getting together and they couldn't for some reason, or for us, what often came up because we spend so much family time together and we would, ski trips or whatever we were doing, like we already had commitments, so they couldn't go to the party or they couldn't go to the sleepover. And I always had the conversation like, you don't have to be at everything all the time. You just don't. Friends are not going to forget about you. They're going to be there when you get back.
That's great.
It's okay. So even now, as their order, I think we need to have these to let them know, like, it's okay. You don't have
You're not forgettable.
Yes.
You're not, and that's a piece of just like self-love and like just really coming into your own, that nobody's going to forget about you if you miss a couple of events, because you are worth it, and we want you there, that's what you tell yourself, that you bring something to the conversation, something special, something only you can bring.
That's right. Guys, thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. It's always a pleasure. Make sure you're following us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest. Dr. Lynn's doing a great job with that. And our website, www.lifeafterkids.com.
Have a great week, everyone, and we hope you make it count.